Are you feeling peaceful and calm? Or are you feeling restless? Just a state of mind. Just note it. When you are feeling calm, then you note your mind that you're feeling calm. Feeling restless, then you note your mind. Feeling restless, it's a restless mind, a restless mind. So in that way you able to look into your mind. Just name it. If you're very peaceful, then you know today's meditation, very peaceful. Very peaceful mind. So it's good to name it so that it brings you to the object of watching the mind. Any question? How's your meditation? Any question? Any question? No question. So today we have a different subject. We are going into the 7 factors of enlightenment. So for the enlightenment, you need to have these 7 factors. So if you don't have these 7 factors, then you need to cultivate them. Only when they appear very strongly in the Makkapala, in the path and fruition, then they appear very strongly together. So we have talked about mindfulness last week, and again it appears as the first one in the 7 factors of enlightenment. Sati, sambojjhankha, bojjhankha. So sati, mindfulness, the factor of enlightenment. Now this mindfulness is, of course, is very important, and this is the right mindfulness of the Noble Eightfold Path. Not just mindfulness in dana or mindfulness in sila, but it is the mindfulness in the 4 foundation of mindfulness. It's a different type of sati. Even though it is still mindfulness, but it is different. If you have mindfulness rises in dana, in giving, this does not come under the 7 factors of enlightenment. These are not the mindfulness covers under the 7 factors. This is sati, mindfulness in dana, in giving, in helping. In other words, there are those who are just helping in the old folks' home, or helping in children's home, or giving dana to the poor people, homeless people in the street. They could not gain enlightenment. No. Because this mindfulness is different. This mindfulness connected to dana, to giving, charity. So they take birth in the Deva world. So if it's strong, appears in the dying moment, then they take birth in the Deva world. So it's a different type of mindfulness. And mindfulness in the sila also is higher than the dana. It's a higher type of mindfulness in the practice of the 5 precepts. Again, this is not the sati that is the factors of enlightenment, give rise to Deva world. And the sati in the concentration, samatha, again, this is not the sati that is the enlightenment. The sati that arises in the samatha meditation, mindfulness that arises in the concentration meditation leads to jhana, mental absorption. So it does not lead to Makkapala, does not lead to realization. It is different type. Even though it appears the same, but it is different. Sati develops, is for the concentration, meditation. So the real sati that is here in the 7 factors of enlightenment is the Noble Eightfold Path type of sati, where we have the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Now this is what we are doing here. We are practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So the condition for its arising, so the practice of mindfulness with clear comprehension, as in the Satipatthana. So the sati that needs to arises with sampajjana, clear comprehension. Now, even though we develop a lot of sati, if it is not clear, still sati is not strong. Only when sati is strong, then there arises sampajjana, clarity of mind. So it comes with the sati that is clearly knowing. That's why I always emphasize on knowing. You may be rising, falling, the mind keeps running all over, so you don't know. So there is no clear comprehension. Sampajjana, sati sampajjana. So the sati that accompanies with the sampajjana, knowing, clearly knowing. Sati arises with clearly knowing. So it is important that develop the sati with clearly knowing, right? So in the commentaries, it says that avoiding person with confused mind, not mindful, people who are supposed to be hostile, people no morals, people following the wrong dhammas, so we should avoid them. Otherwise, if our sati is not strong, then we are swayed towards the other side. We get dragged along with the wrong dhammas. People practice the wrong dhammas. So there are some Buddhists who are not strong with sati, and very soon they become they join other types of teaching. There's one boy in MBMC, Penang, who give Dhamma talks, who take 8 precepts for many years, and now he's a Christian. He becomes a Christian. So in other words, he's being pulled by people with the wrong dhammas. It's not following the Noble Eightfold Path. Dhammas means the real path. So the commentary says that, not to say we do not mix with them, do not get too close to them, in a sense that you follow them to church, follow them to do everything that they do, and suddenly you become one of them. Of course, Buddhists are allowed to go to church, and yes, we are allowed to go to any temples as well. We are allowed to go. But once you get too involved, too close to such type of people, and you get pulled along, so you miss the factors of enlightenment. Your sati becomes weakened. So to avoid, in that way we can develop our sati. So of course, associating with person who are mindful, especially people who are practicing the same thing. So I always recommend that we try to know our fellow meditators, people who are practicing the same way. We could give a lot of encouragement to each other, especially when one is down. Sometimes in life, it's not so smooth, and they encounter difficulties and problems, and that's the time when it is very important that you have friends who are practicing mindfulness. They will give you the support, the help, the encouragement. They will pull you up from the mire, from the difficulties, position that you are in. So it is very important to mix with the right group who practice the same thing. Number 4, incline one's mind towards the development, means with strong chanta intention, inclining. So in other words, if we base it as important, then we will incline our mind towards it. Now it is how we base the importance in life. We base importance in different things, then of course the mind goes to the different things. Now if we incline our mind and say, okay, mindfulness is important, so I'll try the best to put my mind towards the practice of mindfulness. So in the practice of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, what's your mind, what's your feeling, what's your body, which I always say is that the body is much more easier to practice when you're waking up, when you're walking, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're washing your face, when you're dressing. So it's much more easier to be away than the mind, but you need to watch the mind as well. But you need to build up mindfulness strong enough that mind becomes clear. If you go directly to the mind, it's very, very difficult. Example like just now, been sitting for 10 over minutes and they can't see the mind. You say, where is the mind? What to see? How to see? Of course, when you use your eye to see, you can never see your mind with your eyes. You can only see your mind with the mind. In other words, you see the mind with your mindfulness. So, you need to build up your mindfulness. Once the sampajana arises, the clarity of mind arises, then the mind becomes visible, very easy to see. Becomes visible. You can see your mind anytime. You can see what it says, how long it says, what it says. It becomes very clear. Now, Dhamma Vicaya, the second factors of enlightenment, that is also very, very important. Investigation. Investigation of the Dhammas. Now, if we do not put our mind towards it, to investigate, to see deeper into it, then we would not gain enlightenment. For example, the condition for its arising, investigation of the aggregates. Now, the aggregates, as you know, we have covered this subject quite some weeks ago. Investigate into these 5 aggregates. Need to see what is this sanya, what is this perception, what is this feeling, what is this 6 senses, what is this mental formation, what is this form, what is this form, internal form. So this is the 5 aggregates, is actually nama-rupas, mind and form. 4 is the mind, 1 is the body. When you constantly dissect it, constantly try to identify it, investigate it, then you see that there's nothing apart from the 5 aggregates. It's just the 5 aggregates. It's just the constant arising and disappearing of these 5 aggregates. It's just the mind that rises and passes away. It's this feeling that arises, just pass away. It's just this mental formation. It's just this knowing, this consciousness, just this consciousness, this seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. Now, if you investigate, of course, it arises with the mindfulness into these aggregates. Then it penetrates when concentration develops. then this Dhamma Vichaya is the penetration. It penetrates into this mind and body, mind and form, which is the realization, insight. Now the second one mentioned in the commentaries is, of course, the cleanliness of the body. Keep yourself clean. Now this is important part, which is mentioned quite often, that to clean your mind, you have to clean your body. If the body is not clean, and how could the mind be clean? It's like the place as well. When you meditate in dirty places, smelly places, and messy places, so the mind will have difficulties to be clean, because you'll be irritating by all those dirty things. So the body needs to be clean up, so it becomes comfortable. When the body is clean up, you feel very nice and very comfortable. Otherwise, it becomes sticky, and find meditation is quite difficult. So avoid those with confused mind. So again, you have the same condition here. People with confused mind, people who are hostile to the practice. So if you are mixing with those who are hostile, then the mind gets upset, influenced by it. But actually, you could also investigate. You could also see external mind. You could investigate that this is angry mind, external mind, angry mind. If you do not put a person, see it as a person, if you see it as a mind, then it becomes vipassana object, seeing things as they are. If you see a person, a personality, then a concept arises in your mind. And with concept, you create anger and disappointment and so forth. Because when you see concepts, then it brings up concepts. But if you see it as the things as they really are, it's just a mind, it's an angry mind, then you are seeing into reality. So you could actually also watch it. But when your mindfulness is not strong, you find it very difficult to be watching it all the time. So to dissociate yourself from such type of objects makes your mind more peaceful and concentrated. So this is what is said by the commentaries. Associating with the wise, of course. Wise is when you are confused, when you have a lot of problems, when you are not practicing properly. If you associate with the wise, mean those who knows, then they could get advice, they could share their experience, so they could point to the way that, oh, that's quite all right, no problem. You are improving, you are not going backwards, you are actually improving. Go ahead, you're on the right path. So it helps a lot to mix with the wise. If you mix with those who don't know, of course they can't help you, they can't guide you. So it is good that you try, if you are practicing the four foundations of mindfulness, it is good to sometimes see those who are more experienced and try to talk to them. In that way you gain the knowledge. You sort of know whether you are practicing on the right way. Because sometimes it's much more easier to talk to your colleagues, someone who are practicing with you, than to talk with someone you think is a teacher. You feel very shy to talk to a teacher. Don't think of me as a teacher, just think of me as a friend. Then it's easier to talk to me, right? So, investigation of mind and metta. In other words, you see its characteristics. Always try to see its characteristics of this mind and metta. Try to see its arising and disappearing. It is very important. If you don't see the arising and the disappearing, then the investigating factors will not be strong. Dhamma Vichaya will not be strong. When you keep on seeing the arising and disappearing of the feelings, the minds, the elements, air elements, and so forth, then Dhamma Vicaya becomes strong. Penetration factors become strong. Investigate into the nature, seeing its characteristics. Incline towards development of investigation. Now that comes to the same. You must understand it and then put it into practice. Try not to be content with just seeing it blur. Rise, fall. Don't be just content and say, okay, as long as I'm sitting and peaceful, try to see the beginning, try to see the end. If you can't see the beginning, try to see the end. If you can't see the end, try to see the beginning. If you cannot see beginning and end, try to see the process along the end. Try to investigate, try to put more, try to develop your investigating factors. Incline towards the investigating factors of the mind. It's called Dhamma Vicaya, and it is very important. If we don't do that, then it takes a long time before the investigating factors mature. Practice becomes very slow, like a snail. So if you develop your investigating factors, and speed up your progress in your meditation. Right? And the third one is, of course, the virya, sambojjhanga, energy or effort. That's the third one. But I'll stop here for you to ask some question and continue on next week on the 7 factors. So we have 5 minutes left. So any question? Yes. So we have covered the sati, and the cause of sati is the tirasanya. We talked about in the last lesson, the perception brings out the mindfulness, the perception that once you keep on practicing the 4 foundation of mindfulness, so whenever your mind puts into the rising and falling, the sati arises. So whenever you watch the feeling, sati arises. So that becomes the cause of its rising. So one of the cause of sati arising. Now here in this case, here we have the arousing. So the 4 methods, conditions of arousing mindfulness on the commentaries. On the commentaries. Can you remember them? Any question? Yes. Yeah, contented, yes. There are many meditators who are very contented with just samadhi. They're very contented when they meditate. They have they feel very peaceful, and then feel nice, comfortable, and that's enough. So that's enough for them. Every time they sit, they just go for the peacefulness, just contented, just peaceful. That is not enough. Then you get stuck in the samadhi, you get stuck in the calmness. So when you get stuck in the calmness, then you stay there for a long time. You do not go over to the vipassana, to the inside. So you must not be just contented with just the samadhi, just the peacefulness, the calmness. You must try to get into the vicaya, investigating factors. Bring your mind one step ahead. Make one step ahead. Try to see its beginning. Whether it's clear or not. Then it's clear, very good. Then see the beginning that is clear. Once you see it, you find that the beginning and the ending is so close together. Once you see the ending clear, you see beginning clear. You see beginning clear, you see ending clear. So they are so close together. So if you make one clear, the other becomes clear. Then slowly you see the whole process of beginning to end becomes clear. So you must start. Where the beginning is clear or ending is clear, just start with one. So don't just stuck there in the samadhi. Don't stuck there and contented with just peacefulness, very comfortable, can sit 1 hour, very happy. Some say, I sit 2 hours, more happy. You sit there. But you have to develop your vichaya. It's very important for enlightenment. Vichaya is very strong in the Makkapala. Right? Clear enough? Yes, any question? No question. This group seems to be so quiet. No question means you know. Means you know everything. I presume. I presume. If I don't presume that, then next week I go through again one more time. So I presume you know, then I continue on. Otherwise we are stuck here all the time. Pardon? You are distracted by mosquitoes. So we need to have bang here around. Wow, mosquitoes so come in. You say probably meditator want very pure blood, nice to eat. So mosquitoes are feeling lah. Try to do it, detach and see how strong the detachment is. Otherwise you say, please go away, don't disturb me. Please go away, then I will share my merits with you. Sometimes it works. So you have a good meditation, a lot of merits, then I'll share with you mosquito. I'll remember you. So may this mosquito also share my merits. So time's up, and even you are distracted, watch your mind. Just know your mind, distracted mind. Take good care of yourself, drive carefully, practice at home. See you next week. May you all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.